motive gain. The bill undermining the very essence of parliamentary democracy and the right of its citizen. It undermines the state's right and authority, turning Delhi into a mere puppet under the central government control. Yes, sir. The provision of the Honorable LG's sole discretion on matters recommended by the National Capital Civil Service Authority is a cruel joke on the concept of autonomy and self-governance. The bill is another betrayal of our democracy and federal system. So the bill is a systematic death blow to the democracy, is what achieved by this legislation. The central government, with the majority which they gained by decisive strategy, is now chopping the branch they sit. So we can cite a number of cases like to establish this newly the various bill which is passed in the parliament, the multi-cooperative society bill, the agriculture bill, and also the intruding upon the sovereign domain of the state and so on. All these are trying to crush the federal system of our country. Exactly. The bill also adds to the list of actions undermining the federalism in the country. Basically, we understand that BJP is not able to get the power of the state of Delhi from the people of Delhi democratically, that is through election. Hence, they are trying to curb the powers of the state government. The only question is, if BJP was in power in Delhi, would they accept this bill? I am sure that they will never ever think of it. Let me conclude by saying this bill and the ordinance is an insult to the spirit of the nation. This legislation I will vehemently oppose until justice prevails. Thank you.
Shri Abdul Wahab, 4 minutes. Shri Abdul Wahab, not present. Shri P. Chidambaram, Shri P. Chidambaram, not present. Shri Mahesh Jethmalani,
Honorable Chairman, I rise to support this very, very important bill. I'm not in court and I'm surrounded by you.
Can I persuade you to yield in favor of Mr. Chidambaram?
Ah, yes, of course. I was actually supposed to speak after it.
No. Call has been taken by the chair. Shri P. Chidambaram.
I'm just looking for the time.
9 minutes. Sir. There is a request from your party.
15 minutes. All right. Sir, my good friend Dr. Abhishek Singhvi has marshaled the legal arguments and placed the facts before this House and appeal to them, appeal to the House and appeal to the Treasury benches not to proceed with this bill because this bill is unconstitutional. Now, I can understand the full-throated support given by the BJP, but what I do not understand is the half-hearted support extended by two of my learned friends representing the BJD and the YRCP. They know that this is unconstitutional. I think the law ministry knows it is unconstitutional. It's like a moth which burnt once when it approaches a fire, again approaches the same fire, and again approaches the same fire because it's a moth. Now, this government tried it once. It failed. It tried it a second time. It failed. And you're trying it a third time. I wish you what you will get, a spectacular failure when this bill is taken up to the Supreme. Be that as it may. I'm not getting into the legal arguments because we are not a court of law, nor, I'm sure, anyone in the chair wants to be a judge. We are the Council of States. We are duty-bound to protect the rights of states, rights of union territory. We are not representing an individual parliamentary constituency. I'm representing a state. Each one of my learned friends is representing a state. And collectively, we should represent all the states of India. What are we? Are we a union of states? Or are we going to become a union of moth-eaten states? Or a union of moth-eaten union territories? Or a union of municipalities? Please remember the old dictum, no taxation without representation. That's the fundamental premise of a representative and parliamentary democracy. Delhi has, according to the figures I sourced today, 3.17 crore people. Now, the 3.17 crore elect a government. They elect a government to govern them, to take decisions on their behalf. The underlying premise is we are a representative and parliamentary democracy. You may ask me, where are those words in the Constitution? Those words are in the Constitution. The magic words are that there shall be a council of ministers with the chief minister at its head to aid and advise the lieutenant governor. The words aid and advise is not some kind of a friendly advice. Aid and advise has a long constitutional history. Aid and advise means the real power is in the council of ministers. The LG exercises formal power. The real power is with the ministers of the government. The formal power is with the President of India. Aid and advise is magical words. What we are doing today is subverting the three magical words, aid and advice. Now, people are watching us. It's not only the 200-odd members in this House. People of Delhi are watching us. They will watch us today on television, on YouTube. They will know that this government is attempting to take away the real power of the elected representatives and put it in the hands of bureaucrats. Now, I asked in a tweet, and I'll ask this question. What is the merit you file with the bill? Leave alone the constitutional aspects. What is the merit you file? Is there merit in a three-member authority where two officers will constitute a majority and overrule the chief minister? Is there merit when two members of the three constitute a quorum, they can even call a meeting, hold a meeting without the chief minister? Is there merit that even if a decision is taken unanimously, the LG can overrule it? Is there merit that the member secretary, who is the principal secretary of Home, will convene a meeting with or without the chief minister? What is the merit? What is the merit? I heard you on television. I heard the honorable member on television. I didn't find you mention any merit in any clause of this bill. I heard you also. And I was even more disappointed. Therefore, what is the merit? What is the merit? What is the merit?
Take your seat.
What is
Take
the
your seat,
merit?
sir.
What is the
No,
merit
take
in
your
this
seat.
clause?
They are sitting in the opposition.
What is the merit in any clause? There
Because
is
of you, your
which clause has any merit in it?
I would urge the honorable member to get into a groove that
We are
does
not
not
getting into the
invite.
constitutionality. I'm saying, irrespective of the constitutionality, which
No, sir,
clause has
sir,
any
you went on a
merit in it?
tangent, physically and thoughtfully. Therefore, the honorable member had an occasion to be on his feet. I would urge you to confine to that
Very
limit.
well, this is my view.
It is expected of you, sir.
No, I have great respect for their view. All I'm saying is, I didn't find them point out the merit in the clause of the bill irrespective of the Constitution. So we have a bill today which the government thinks is the model for Delhi. They had invented a model for Jammu and Kashmir, and that is in court today. Please remember, we always talk about breakdown of the Constitution of India, breakdown of constitutional governance. Article 355, 356 speaks about breakdown of the constitutional machinery. What are we doing today? We are breaking the constitutional machinery. By passing this bill, by passing this bill,
You do as a finance minister.
by passing this bill, we are breaking the constitutional machineries envisaged. We broke it on 5th of August 2019 in Kashmir, divided a state into 2 union territories, and sending a chill in the spines of every state that any state can be broken into union territories. What are we doing today? We are breaking the constitutional machinery. Sir,
Honorable member,
let me end by saying,
My-
while I endorse whatever my good friend Dr. Singhvi said about the constitutionality, and there is another forum which will argue, please remember, you have no constitutional authority to pass this bill, be that as it may. You have not even a moral authority to pass this bill. The treasury benches, when did they last win an election in Delhi? 15 years, Mrs. Sheila Dikshit was chief minister. I think there were 2 or 3 lieutenant governors.
Please
One minute.
conclude.
2 or 3 lieutenant governors, and I was home minister for a while. Never once did the present present arrangement come in the way of Mrs. Sheila Dikshit functioning as perhaps one of the best chief ministers of this country.
Shri Mahesh Jethmalani.
Just one minute.
Thank you.
I asked you before I started, you said 10 minutes, therefore I'm speaking. It's not 10 minutes yet.
Sir, 9 minutes.
It's 9 minutes. It's 9 minutes.
Nine. Sir,
it's not
You
10
said
minutes
if
as
I...
yet.
Sir, my
when
problem
did
is
the
that
BJP
everyone needs support of Jairam.
when did the BJP last win an election? They won an election before 1998. 1998 to 15 years, Congress government was there, and after 2013, it's the AAP government. You won an election 25 years ago. What moral rights have you to speak for the people
Sorry,
of
sir,
Delhi
sir.
and say this is what the people of Delhi want?
Shri
This is not what
Mahesh
the people of
Jethmalani.
Delhi want. This bill must
Shri
be
Mahesh
rejected.
Jethmalani. Shri Mahesh Jethmalani.
Honorable Chairman, I rise to support this bill.
One second. Sir says it's getting louder. Decibel level has to be, is getting louder, sir. Yes, Mahesh Jethmalani.
Sir, Dr. Singhvi, in his opening remarks, said that he made a lot of uncharitable comments, that this was a bill, hunkar ka natija, his exact words. He also said that we were Alice in Wonderland, constitutional arrogance. All these words were used, but I found very little in his speech regarding the legality or the constitutionality of this bill. I reminded about your Lordship, my Honorable Chairman. Very difficult to wear two hats on the same day. Honorable Chairman will recall, with all his eminence at the bar, there's an old saying,
You are the third senior advocate.
Yes.
I am listening for the day. And trust me, I will go home and read every word of each of you have said and privately get back to you.
It
Go
will be
ahead.
a deja vu moment for you. Anyways, we used to have an old saying in court that when a lawyer is strong on the law, he hammers the law. When he's strong on facts, he hammers the facts. When he's strong on neither, he hammers his opponents. A lot of that has happened today. Now, sir, I'll come to as Mr. Chidambaram has said that he'll not deal with the law in this matter. I don't blame him. For some time now, he's forgotten about law and compliance. So I don't blame him. Now, sir, let's come to the constitutionality of this bill. So the constitutionality of this bill is to be found in the Constitution itself. And that is 239AA. And I'll just read one provision. It may be a little pedantic for most people, but I'll just read. After all, sir, the Union Territory of Delhi is sui generis. The Supreme Court has said so in the 2023 May judgment. But when it said it was sui generis, which means unique, it meant that it was a sui generis Union Territory because it was the only Union Territory which had the privilege of having both a state legislature and a council of ministers. It is not a full-fledged state. That may be unfortunate. It is a sui generis, i.e. an escalated Union Territory with more powers than other Union Territories. Now, the provisions of the Constitution reflect that. If I may just read one article or one sub-article, 3B. Nothing in subclause A, which is the powers of the Union Territory of Delhi to legislate. It says, nothing in subclause A shall derogate, which means depart from, the powers of Parliament under this Constitution to make laws with respect to any matter for a Union Territory or any part thereof. Now, look, this is wide. Sir, this is wide. This is widespread. This is all-encompassing. It covers union list, state list, concurrent list. The union government can make powers, notwithstanding that there's a vacuum, on any matter in any of the three lists. So the ultimate power of the Union Territory of Delhi still vests, notwithstanding the fact that it's a sui generis Union Territory, ultimate power vests in the Union. That's point number one. Now, so what does the bill do? This really is a battle about control of services. It never arose in the past when Sheila Dikshit was the Chief Minister of Delhi, a reign which Mr. Chidambaram proudly flaunts. There was no question that she never thought that it was necessary to give Delhi full statehood in all the 10 years that she was in power. She never gave Delhi full statehood. Apart from that, she never thought it was necessary to have a provision like this because since times immemorial, and particularly since 1991, when Delhi got that sui generis status through 239, ever since it got that, it was almost accepted. It became a matter of convention that the powers of control over the services would vest in the Union. And it did in fact happen. That was because the seat of government is New Delhi, of the Union government. Parliament is here. Foreign diplomats are here. Embassies are here. So the seat of power being in Delhi, control over services in Delhi vested in the Union government, and it pass muster over successive administrations. It was never questioned. Now, what does this bill do? This bill actually reflects the sui generis union territory status of Delhi. And I'll just read one provision. 45E is crucial. In the matter of transfer of postings, postings and transfer of the services, 45E creates a new body. It creates a body, an authority, known as the National Capital Civil Service Authority, to exercise powers conferred on and discharge the functions assigned to it under this part. Now, that body, the constitution of that body, reflects the sui generis nature of the Union Territory of Delhi, as also the fact that the ultimate control rests in the Union government. So, the authority referred to in subsection 1 shall consist of the following members, namely, the Chief Minister of the Government of National Capital of Delhi, who shall be the chairperson of the authority ex officio, and the other two members will be, so the Chief Minister of the Government of the National Capital Territory of Delhi is the ex officio chairman of the authority that will deal with postings and transfer. The Chief Secretary of the Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi member will be ex officio, and the Principal Home Secretary, Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi, will be the member secretary to the authority. So, the three-member authority will consist of the Chief Minister and two high-ranking bureaucrats from the center. This authority fully reflects the nature of the relationship between the Union Territory of Delhi and the Union government. This is reflective of that. Now, sir, what is the reason for this departure, if I may say so? This has been going on, as I said, since 1991. Control postings of services is within the jurisdiction of the Union government. I see none whatsoever. The only change of circumstances that seems to have taken place, if I may use an analogy from cricket, with the respective parties who are chiefly concerned with this change, AAP, Congress, and the BJP, is that the Congress, who never had any problem with this issue about control of services, has now, like a batsman who has lost form and hasn't scored a half century for 10 years, is now seeking an alliance so that it can inch towards its first 50. The AAP is like a cricket team whose captain has been caught ball tampering. A vigilance report exists, and suddenly they want to become vigilant about the vigilance report. The BJP's present government is the third umpire. We want to stop this nefarious practice. A convention, a wholesome convention for better administration and for effective administration of the Union Territory of Delhi by the Union government now needs to be made into law, lest people subvert the services and hide their corruption. I wholeheartedly and with all the vigor at my command support this. Thank you, Chairman.
Shri Abdul Wahab, 4 minutes. 4 minutes.
Yeah, for me is more for me. Respected Chairman Saab and my colleagues are telling more about this Delhi bill. I don't have much to add to that one. My only wish is, this is only for 8 months business. Next government is of India. So everything what is happening here is negative. And Amit Shah ji thinking that he will be always the Home Minister only. You don't want to be Prime Minister also. So, so the next Prime Minister already announced, third term I am the Prime Minister. Modi ji was already told. So what is the need of this bill, thinking that I will be always Home Minister? So my request is to take this bill, and anyway it is going to be negated by the next government of us. It is for sure. Yes. So India will be ruling, all this will be null and void. So my request to Amit Shah ji, at this point of time, don't be in the history, don't be a villain instead of a hero. So what happened in Kashmir?
This word is not good.
Wedding is no.
Using a word villain.
Sorry, I am myself taking
You
back.
see, all of
I am
us.
withdrawing.
One second. One second. All of us have to exemplify our conduct
Yes,
so that it could be emulated by others.
yes.
It is good of you.
I took back.
It is good of you to take snipe shots, but in the process, maintain decorum
I didn't mean
and
that.
dignity. Go ahead. It is expunged.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So, my request to Amit Shah ji, it is happened in Kashmir and in here and maybe in Punjab tomorrow, I don't know. So whatever is happening in, our immediate solution should be in Manipur and Haryana and other places. So I request Amit Shah ji to interfere in Manipur more than in Delhi affairs, small affairs. Some officers changing this and all. But this gentleman, our chief minister, came as a, what you call, I am telling, as a hero. I was thinking that they are the B team of BJP before I was thinking. But now only I came to know they are not the B team of BJP. They are also want to rule Delhi as a chief minister. So I stop this one asking again to Amit Shah ji to repeal this bill. Thank you.
Sri Ranjan Gagoi. Honorable members, it is the maiden speech of the honorable member.
I thank the Chairman, sir, for the opportunity. It's a great day, a maiden speech on a subject that is very dear to my heart, and a subject that can be as related to law as possible. So a maiden speech, I believe the chair is a little indulgent and gives a little more time, but I won't take much time. A maiden speech also has the protection of the House. It is freedom of speech in an absolute form. The member has a right to say on the first day whatever he wants. So, I would confine myself to the legality of the proposed legislation. And I will address the House and the Chair, of course, from three standpoints: sub judice, overreaching the Supreme Court's order, and the constitutional validity. So there is some faint voice about impropriety, sub judice. As a layman, it is not sub judice. What is pending before the Supreme Court is the validity of the ordinance. What the House is debating is on the validity of a law.
Please. Would you please take your seat? No. Absolutely no. No. Don't force me. The House was going well.
This is the replacement of that ordinance.
One second.
No, there is a difference.
All right.
Do you want me to go further? Please take your seat.
Mr. Chairman,
I
sir.
will not allow. This is
Mr.
not
Mr.
good.
Mr.
No one
Chairman,
was
sir.
interrupted. You suddenly rise. The House is getting enlightened. Trust me. Mark every word. The House is getting enlightened. as was enlightened by others also. Please go ahead, sir.
Mr. Chairman, sir, what is pending before the Supreme Court is the validity of the ordinance and specifically two questions referred to the Constitution bench. That has nothing to do with what is being debated in the House, number one. Number two, this is for all the members of the House, and it has some importance so far as the relation between the judiciary and the executive is concerned. I would request all the members of the House to have a relook at Articles 105, 121, and 122. There is absolute freedom of speech in Parliament, and whatever a member says in Parliament cannot be questioned in a court of law. I do not find a similar constitutional provision restricting the debates in courts. What the courts cannot do under 121 is question the conduct of a judge in relation to a pending matter. The restriction that the House imposes on its own speech is self-imposed by the rules. And what do the rules provide? Mr. Chairman, sir, the rule says a member shall not discuss a matter of fact which is a court pending before a court of law. It's not a matter of fact that is what is being debated. It's a question of law. It is not even an interpretation of law. It's on a debate on law. Now, Mr. Chairman, sir, so far as sub judice is concerned, the bill takes away 3A from the ordinance. To my mind, it's a perception, I may be wrong. To my mind, when 3A has been taken out of the ordinance and it is not there in the bill, the questions referred to the Constitution bench stands self-answered. Because if you read the order of the Supreme Court referring the matter to the Constitution bench, a copy of which I have got and I have read, my view is that the entire reference has been necessitated by the provision of 3A of the ordinance, which no longer exists. Therefore, it is the prerogative, the right of the members of the House to debate. The question of sub judice doesn't come. So far as overreaching or outreaching the order of the court, Supreme Court is concerned, very shortly put, the position in my perception is this. The state legislature makes laws for the states, the parliament makes laws for the union territories. For the National Capital Region of Delhi, which has a special status, the state legislature or the legislature of Delhi makes the laws on the state subjects, except 3. But as Mr. Jethmalani read out, by virtue of 239 3B, Parliament has a power to frame laws beyond these 3. And that is exactly what the bill is seeking to do. Therefore, there is no question of overreaching. And what has the Supreme Court repeatedly said? Paragraph 164, 2 conclusions. These are the 2 conclusions. May I read out these 2 conclusions? The legislative 164C, the Legislative Assembly of the NCTD has competence over entries in List 2 and List 3, except for the expressly excluded entries. In addition to entries in list 1, in addition to entries in the union list, Parliament has legislative competence over all matters in list 2 and list 3 in relation to NCTD. This is the conclusion in paragraph 164. C. Paragraph 164F. The executive power of the NCD with respect to entries in list 2 and list 3 shall be subject to the executive power expressly conferred upon the Union by the Constitution or by a law enacted by Parliament. So this is the conclusion of the Supreme Court. And therefore, now, what has the Supreme Court repeatedly held in the 2018 judgment and the 2023 judgment? Precisely this. And I'm very grateful for the fairness shown by the first speaker, Dr. Singhvi. If I'm not mistaken, what Dr. Singhvi said, the power of Parliament is not in dispute. He said it very fairly. The power of the legislative competence of Parliament is not in dispute. Then why would this law be bad? This law would be bad if it violates the fundamental rights, number one. Number two, if it violates any other provision of the Constitution, and if it violates the basic structure of the Constitution. Right.
Honorable members,
Yes.
I don't have to remind honorable members, it's a maiden speech. Yes, please. And the honorable member is making his point very rationally.
Sir,
it is one point of view.
I will take.
Well, the chair has taken a call.
I will take 2
And
minutes.
here with it.
No, sir,
Sorry.
you have 15 minutes. You have 15 minutes.
Should we?
So far as
One second.
fundamental
Honorable
right is
member,
concerned.
Honorable member, one second.
far-
One second.
Yes.
This House should not set an example that an honorable member with huge experience in his matter is making a point. And every time you rise and tell me time is over. It is my authority on a maiden speech. Sorry. Honorable members, I have given adequate time to every member on the maiden speech.
Yes.
And I had every time pleaded with you to show respect. Merely because what the point is being made, it is required not to be registered, but to be digested. And you will have an opportunity to deal with it. We are getting input in this House from a very experienced legal mind. We got it from Dr. Singhvi. We got it from Mr. Chidambaram. We got it from Mr. Mahesh Jethmalani. We have to get also from Mr. Gagoi. Please, sir.
In any case, Honorable Chairman, sir, I have come to the end of it. Violation of fundamental rights. The only fundamental right that can be violated is perhaps Article 14, and that too, the limited part of Article 14, that the law is arbitrary. Is this law arbitrary? This doesn't appear to be so. The law may not be to my liking. That does not make it arbitrary.
Absolutely.
Next, does it violate the basic feature of the Constitution? Sir, I have to say something about the basic feature.
Please.
There's a book by Mr. Andharajuna,
Yes.
the former Solicitor General, on the Keshavananda Bharti case.
Yes.
Having read the book, my view is that the doctrine of basic structure of the Constitution has a debatable a very debatable jurisprudential basis. I would not say anything more than this. I wouldn't say anything more. The doctrine of basic structure has a very debatable jurisprudential basis. In any case, Honorable Chairman, sir, what the bill provides is diluted form of what federalism, because it's a union territory, not a full-fledged state. Therefore, what you have is a diluted form, an asymmetrical form of federalism. And the third thing is, does it violate any other part of the Constitution? The Supreme Court mentioned about triple autonomy. What you have under the bill is a modified form of triple autonomy. The bureaucrat is responsible to a lieutenant governor, who is responsible to the Home Ministry, who is responsible to the House. You have a modified form. If you want a full-fledged federalism, which today is a basic feature, though I have my own perceptions there, you can go for an amendment, for a constitutional amendment, and make Delhi a full-fledged state. Now, the most important thing, Chairman Sir, is Article 239AA, starting from 1 to 7, is not under challenge before the Supreme Court. Challenge it. That is not under challenge. Therefore, in my respectful submission, my contention, the bill is perfectly legitimately valid. But I fully support Mr. Vikas Bhattacharya, who has been a very close associate of mine. What is permissible need not necessarily be right. In the House today, parliamentary democracy compels members to vote according to party dictates. Fine, I cannot quarrel with that. It's a small section of people to whom you appeal to their conscience. To me, the bill is correct, right? My conscience tells me to do something, I'll do it. But if somebody disagrees, his conscience must be left free. Thank you. I am honored. I'm privileged.
Well, we have one thing in common. Dr. Vikas Bhattacharya is also my good friend and known to me for long. And I remember when he was mayor of Kolkata Municipal Corporation. Dr. Fozia Khan.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, I wish to express my profound concerns and my vehement opposition to the bill, sir. This bill, as said by many of my colleagues, raises many constitutional apprehensions and threatens the very foundation of democratic principles and federal structure, sir. Sir, as already spoken by many, disrupting the triple chain of accountability jeopardizes the very essence of our democratic system and erodes the trust that the people repose in their elected representatives, sir. Sir, I think the most important in a democracy is the people. We must never, never forget that. Everything that we do here, everything that we do is only for the people. And if, sir, we talk about people, my question is, can the electorate be betrayed? If you are betraying the electorate, isn't it a betrayal of democracy? When the people of Delhi have laid their trust on a particular government, couldn't we even have waited till the tenure to get over so that we wait legitimately for that government to finish the tenure till we make it toothless, sir? Why do we have to make a government toothless? It is here, sir, that we are laying a crack on democracy. On the timelines of history, sir, एक दिन आप भी नहीं रहेंगे, हम भी नहीं रहेंगे, हम और आप यहाँ के कोई नहीं रहेंगे, लेकिन सर जो डिसीजंस हम लेंगे वो डिसीजंस आगे के जनरेशंस के लिए यहाँ पर रहेंगे। सर, सुधांशु त्रिवेदी जी ने और बहुत सारे ट्रेजरी बेंचेस के सदस्यों ने वैयक्तिक टिप्पणी की है केजरीवाल जी पर। मैं ये पूछना चाहती हूँ सर कि अगर केजरीवाल जी से कोई गलती हो रही है ऐसा मान के भी चलते हैं तो क्या हमें कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट लाना चाहिए उसके लिए? मुझे ये बिल्कुल बात समझ में नहीं आती है सर। पार्लियामेंट डज हैव द पावर टू मेक लॉ। I agree with it, sir. We are not disputing that. But the essence of democracy cannot be killed at any cost, sir. And here we are killing the essence of democracy. Mr. Tiruchi Shiva here spoke about constitutional morality. And I more than agree with him, sir, that constitutional morality also must be considered when we are talking about this. And that if we agree that this is a union territory, why do we have an assembly at all? Let us dissolve this assembly and finish it and make a proper union territory. If it is a union territory, Delhi has a special status, sir. We must not forget that. And if you have a special status, although we have the right to make a law here, sir, we have to see that the essence of democracy is protected. Sir, here in this parliament, we speak about the nation. When a government, sir, do I stop?
4 minutes. Go ahead, 1 minute more.
So if a government comes to, if it is elected, the government gains many things, sir. It gains decision making, it gains power. पावर के साथ पुलिस है सर, पावर के साथ सीबीआई है, पावर के साथ ईडी है, पावर के साथ इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट है, पावर के साथ मीडिया है. लेकिन सर, it loses one thing. We must not forget that the government loses one thing when it comes to power, and that is, sir, whataboutery.
Correct, sir.
Whataboutery is one thing that is the right and the duty of the opposition. But here what we see is, we are always talking about what about this. The moment the opposition says what about this, an answer comes from there, what about that? What about here? Somebody says what about there? Sir, this is not the right of the government here. It is the responsibility of the opposition. Thank you, sir.
Sri 4 minutes.
सिर्फ 4 मिनट्स
Only.
ऐसा कैसा चले? मेरा भी मिडन स्पीच है।
देखिए संजय जी, संजय जी, ये चीजें स्ट्रेंथ से डिटरमिन होती हैं, लंबे समय से हो रही
सर।
4 minutes.
सर, मैं इस बिल के लीगल एस्पेक्ट में नहीं जाना चाहता हूं। चिदम्बरम साहब, डॉक्टर सिंघवी, देश के पूर्व मुख्य न्यायाधीश, सभी ने इस बारे में बात किया है। लेकिन मैं इतना ही कहूंगा कि आप एक बहुत ही खतरनाक बिल लेकर आए हो और इस बिल को विरोध करने के लिए मैं खड़ा हूं। जो इस बिल के समर्थन में वोट करेंगे वो भारत माता के साथ बेईमानी करेंगे, इंडिया के साथ बेईमानी करेंगे। ये देश का जो फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर है, ये फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर पर सीधा हमला है, लोकतंत्र की हत्या है। देखो देखो 4 मिनट है, मुझे 2 मिनट काफी है, तो ज्यादा आवाज मत वहां से करिए। एक चुनी हुई सरकार दिल्ली में है, विधानसभा है, असेंबली है। सरकार, लोगों ने दिल्ली के चीफ सेक्रेटरी को वोट नहीं दिए हैं, एलजी को वोट नहीं दिया है। एलजी नहीं जाता वोट मांगने को, वोट मांगता है केजरीवाल या कोई मुख्यमंत्री या कोई सरकार, कोई नेता। हाँ, आप 5 बार चुनाव हार गए, 6 बार चुनाव हार गए। आज भी दिल्ली के विधानसभा में आपके 5 विधायक नहीं है, और इसलिए आप दिल्ली विधानसभा हो, चाहे महाराष्ट्र हो, चाहे पश्चिम बंगाल हो, चाहे तमिलनाडु हो, आप कब्जा लेने चाहते हैं। सरकारें कौन चलाएगा? हम लोकतंत्र की बात अगर करेंगे, मैं वहां की बहुत से लोगों के मेरे मित्र हैं, भाषण सुन रहा था, मुझे लगा आपको पुरानी चीज याद आएगी। जब लोकतंत्र के बारे में बड़ी-बड़ी बातें आप कर रहे थे, लेकिन आपके आंखों में मुझे कोई लज्जा नहीं दिखी। मुझे 2 पंक्तियां याद आई गोपाल दास नीरज की। मत पूछो कि इस दौर में क्या क्या नहीं बिका। आपने तो सब कुछ बिक दिया है, पब्लिक सेक्टर से लेकर लोकतंत्र तक, विधायक, सांसद, सरकारें। मत पूछो कि इस दौर में क्या क्या नहीं बिका, आपके आंखों की शर्म तक आपने बेची है। सर, आप दिल्ली का चुनाव हार गए, आप 2024 का चुनाव भी हारने जा रहे हैं। इंडिया जीतेगा, इंडिया जीतेगा। प्रधानमंत्री, हाँ, प्रधानमंत्री जी का, प्रधानमंत्री विश्व गुरु बना दिया है, लेकिन उनका जो सम्मान होता है, उनको जो लोग बाइडेन से लेकर फ्रांस के प्रेसिडेंट तक जो गले लगाते हैं, वो नरेंद्र मोदी जी को नहीं गले लगाते, एक महान लोकतंत्र वाले देश के प्रधानमंत्री को गले लगाते हैं, इंडिया के प्रधानमंत्री को गले लगाते हैं। और आप उस महान परंपरा को, उस महान संस्कृति को आप खत्म करने जा रहे हैं। अभी प्रधानमंत्री पुणे में गए थे, लोकमान्य तिलक का नाम से उनको सबसे बड़ा अवार्ड मिला।
I requested the honorable members, and this is not a good tendency.
सर, मैंने क्या बोला?
No,
मैंने गलत क्या बोला?
One second. It is
प्रधानमंत्री जी को
Mr. Sanjay Raut, it is not that.
के नाम से पुरस्कार मिला।
Okay, your time is over.
लोकमान्य तिलक का
No, Mr. Your time is over, Sanjay Raut, and when I say your time is over, I mean time for this address only.
मेरा और 2 मिनट।
दिग्विजय सिंह जी, आप इतने सीनियर आदमी हैं।
सर, मेरा और 2 मिनट बाकी।
In this house, we must have respect for constitutional functionaries. Let us not create a system which is not good.
नहीं।
No. Message from Lok Sabha Secretary General. Message from Lok Sabha Secretary General.
Sir, with your kind permission, I rise to report that the Lok Sabha at its sitting held on 7th August 2023 passed 1. The Anusandhan National Research Foundation Bill 2023 and 2. The Pharmacy Amendment Bill 2023. I lay a copy each of the said bills on the table.
Shri Ghanshyam Tiwari, 15 minutes.
आदरणीय सभापति महोदय, मैं आपके माध्यम से आज इसकी बहस की शुरुआत करते समय माननीय श्री अभिषेक मनु सिंघवी जी थे, उन्होंने चेतावनी दी बीजेडी को, वाईएसआर कांग्रेस को। उन्होंने कहा कि भाई आप इनके साथ जा रहे हैं तो आपके साथ अच्छा नहीं होगा, क्योंकि आग दूर तक आएगी। लेकिन सभापति महोदय, वो मेरे मित्र हैं, जोधपुर के हैं, मैं उनको याद दिलाना चाहता हूं कि वो केजरीवाल जी के पास वो गए हैं, इसलिए वो अपने आप को संभालें, क्योंकि केजरीवाल साहब के साथ जितने भी लोग थे जो शुरू में उनके साथ आए, चाहे प्रशांत भूषण जी आए, चाहे स्वर्गीय शांति भूषण जी आए, चाहे योगेंद्र यादव जी आए, चाहे कवि जी आए, या जितने भी लोग आए, वो सबसे पहले अन्ना हजारे आए। अन्ना हजारे की बात उन्होंने नहीं मानी, फिर किरण बेदी की बात उन्होंने नहीं मानी, फिर प्रशांत भूषण की बात उन्होंने नहीं मानी, फिर शांति भूषण जी की बात उन्होंने नहीं मानी, योगेंद्र यादव जी की बात नहीं मानी। सबको उन्होंने अलग अलग अपने स्थान पर भेज दिया। अब उसके बाद में 2 आदमी बच गए उनके पास में, वो श्री मनोज सिसोदिया जी बचे और सत्येंद्र जैन जी बचे। जब वो नहीं गए तो उन दोनों को जेल में भेज दिया। इस प्रकार से उनके पास फिर कोई नहीं रहा, क्या कोई नहीं रहा। इसलिए अब अगर कोई खतरा है तो खतरा कांग्रेस पार्टी को है, और कांग्रेस पार्टी उनसे सावधान रहे। और जहां तक ये कांग्रेस पार्टी का और आप पार्टी का साथ आने का सवाल है, सभापति महोदय, ये तो मुद्दा मैरिज है, ये तो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हुआ था कि हमारा इस बिल में आप समर्थन करोगे तो हम आपके साथ आएंगे, और ये बिल लोकसभा में पास हो गया, अब ये राज्यसभा में पास होने वाला है। इसके बाद में ये मुद्दा मैरिज टूट जाएगी और ये केजरीवाल जी कांग्रेस के लिए सनीसर बनकर उनके सामने ही खड़े हो जाएंगे। इसलिए वाईएसआर कांग्रेस को या बीजू जनता दल को करने के बजाय कांग्रेस पार्टी स्वयं सोच ले कि उसका क्या हाल होने वाला है। दूसरी बात मैं कहना चाहता हूं सभापति महोदय, उन्होंने बार बार एक बात कही कि साहब नेहरू जी के समय बात हुई, ये बात हुई। मैं सबको याद दिलाना चाहता हूं कि माननीय गृह मंत्री जो अमित शाह जी हमारे हैं, उनकी एक आदत है, वो लंबे समय से जो काम चल के आता है और जो पूरा नहीं होता, विवाद में रहता है, उसको पूरा कर देते हैं। जैसे आर्टिकल 370 नेहरू जी के समय से चलाया था, पूरा नहीं हुआ, इन्हीं सदनों में पास करके उन्होंने पारित कर दिया, वो पारित कराया, कराया सक्सेसफुली। और दूसरा, फिर इसी प्रकार से रामलला के, राम जी के मंदिर के बारे में बोल रहे थे, वो भी इनके गृह मंत्री के काल में पूरा हुआ। और ये विवाद जो पंडित जवाहर, ये विवाद जो ये विवाद जो पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू के समय से चला रहा था दिल्ली के बारे में, फेजल कमेटी बन रही है और डॉक्टर पट्टाभी सीतारामैया की कमेटी बन रही है, बाल कृष्ण की कमेटी बन रही है, और कई प्रकार से नगर परिषद बन रही है, नगर निगम बन रही है, मेट्रोपॉलिटन काउंसिल बन रही है। ये सारा काम करने के बाद में 15 वर्ष तक आदरणीय शीला दीक्षित जी के मुख्यमंत्री रहने के बाद, मदन लाल जी खुराना के रहने के बाद कोई विवाद नहीं हुआ। ये विवाद जब केजरीवाल जी आए, उन्होंने खड़ा किया। अब उस विवाद का भी समाधान आज माननीय अमित शाह जी के हाथ से हो जाएगा, और इस बार दिल्ली के बारे में कोई समाधान नहीं होगा। माननीय सभापति महोदय, मैं कहना चाहता हूं, दूसरी बात जो यहाँ पर बार बार उठाई गई, मैं उससे सैद्धांतिक रूप से मतभेद रखता हूं। माननीय गोगोई साहब यहाँ पर बैठे हैं, वो भी सुनेंगे, बड़े बड़े वकीलों की बात भी हमने सुनी है। कौन सा फैसला है जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट करता है? फैसला नेता करते हैं, पार्लियामेंटेरियंस करते हैं और संसद सदस्य करते हैं। मैं उदाहरण देकर कहना चाहता हूं, सबसे पहले तो मैं उदाहरण देना चाहता हूं कि पहला संविधान संशोधन कब आया। पहला संविधान संशोधन इस सदन में आया जब 1951 में सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने एससी और एसटी के रिजर्वेशन को स्ट्रेट डाउन कर दिया। उसके बाद पहला संविधान संशोधन आया, और उसका निर्णय सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने नहीं किया, उसका निर्णय जनप्रतिनिधियों ने किया, और एससी और एसटी को हमने रिजर्वेशन दिया। दूसरा बहुत बड़ा प्रसंग आया माननीय सभापति महोदय, कांग्रेस वाले सब भूल गए, संविधान लोकतंत्र की हत्या हो रही है। आप भूल गए जब साहबानों का केस आया था सुप्रीम कोर्ट में, और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने फैसला किया था।
ऑनरेबल मेंबर्स प्लीज कीप साइलेंस, प्लीज कीप साइलेंस प्लीज।
जब साहबानों का केस आया था और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने फैसला किया था कि एक महिला को गुजारा भत्ता मिलना चाहिए, उस समय कांग्रेस पार्टी को साफ सूख गया था। वो इसी सदन में संशोधन लेकर आई और संविधान के उन्होंने सुप्रीम कोर्ट के फैसले को पलटा, जो साबानों के केस में पेश पलट सकते हैं, वो आज संसदीय लोकतंत्र की दुहाई दे रहे हैं। इसके बाद माननीय सभापति महोदय, और कितने प्रसंग आए। ओबीसी के आरक्षण का प्रसंग आया, ओबीसी के शिक्षा में रिजर्वेशन का प्रसंग आया, और 9 सदस्यीय बेंच ने ईडब्ल्यूएस के आरक्षण को निरस्त कर दिया था। लेकिन माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने इसी सदन में संविधान संशोधन करके ईडब्ल्यूएस को आरक्षण दिलाया और 53 याचिकाओं को सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बाद में निरस्त किया। इसलिए यह कहना कि यह संविधान की अवहेलना है, यह संविधान की अवहेलना भी नहीं है और यह लोकतंत्र की अवहेलना भी नहीं। दूसरी बात मैं कहना चाहता हूं, बार बार एक बात, इतनी जल्दी क्या हो गई थी, इतनी जल्दी क्या हो गई थी। भाई इतनी जल्दी सरकार को पूछ रहे हो तो यहाँ की सरकार को पूछो, दिल्ली को, उनको इतनी जल्दी क्या हो गई थी कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट का फैसला आते ही रात को 12 बजे जाकर ताले तोड़ने लगे। वो जल्दी कहां से आ गई थी, सब ये क्यों गई थी, तो ये इसलिए हुई। दूसरी बात, आज तक कोई भी दिल्ली की सरकार कोर्ट में नहीं गई, आदरणीय शीला दीक्षित जी भी नहीं गए, मदन लाल खुराना भी नहीं गए। ये किस लिए गए कोर्ट में, हाई कोर्ट में, कि हमको ये अधिकार मिलने चाहिए। ये अधिकार उसके पहले इनके पास नहीं थे तो ये गए, और गए तो दिल्ली हाई कोर्ट ने इनके खिलाफ फैसला किया। जब ये कोर्ट के इतने ही भक्त हैं तो फिर दिल्ली हाई कोर्ट का फैसला मान लेते, तो दिल्ली हाई कोर्ट का फैसला भी नहीं माना। इसके बाद में ये गए सुप्रीम कोर्ट में, और सुप्रीम कोर्ट में क्या हुआ, सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जो फैसला है उसका केवल एक आख्यान पढ़ते हैं, बाकी 2 आख्यान जो भी माननीय महेश जी ने भी बताए और माननीय गोगोई जी ने भी बताए, उनको पढ़ नहीं रहे। तो मीठा मीठा गप और कड़वा कड़वा थू। और ये जो आया है आज, ये जो संविधान संशोधन का बिल आया है, ये ऑर्डिनेंस को जो वो करने का बिल आया है, ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट की इच्छा के अनुसार आया है। और लेकिन किसी भी देश में सब जनप्रतिनिधि फैसला करते हैं। 1926 के पहले ब्रिटेन में महिलाओं को वोट का अधिकार नहीं था, और वहां की प्रिवी काउंसिल ने तय कर दिया था कि अधिकार उनको नहीं मिल सकता क्योंकि कानून के अंतर्गत नहीं है। प्रिवी काउंसिल ने फैसला किया, और फैसला करने के बाद में ब्रिटेन में महिलाओं को वोट का अधिकार मिला। भारत में तो पहले से है। ये जितने निग्रो हैं, इनको वोट का अधिकार अमेरिका में नहीं था, और अमेरिका की ब्लैक इन ब्लैक को अधिकार नहीं था, और इनको जब वहां की फेडरल कोर्ट ने मना कर दिया कि आपको अधिकार नहीं मिलेगा, आप वोट नहीं दे सकते, कानून में नहीं है, तो अमेरिकन कांग्रेस ने प्रस्ताव पास कर उनको वोट का अधिकार दिया। उसी प्रकार दक्षिण अफ्रीका में हुआ, उसी प्रकार अन्य देशों में हुआ। इसलिए कोई सुप्रीम कोर्ट फैसला करेगा कि ये ठीक है कि ये गलत है, वो नहीं है। भारत में भी आज तक के 50 उदाहरण हैं जिनमें सुप्रीम कोर्ट के फैसलों को बदलकर हमने जनहित में निर्णय किए गए हैं, और ये दिल्ली के जनता के हित में सबसे बड़ा निर्णय माननीय अमित शाह जी लेकर आए हैं, वो हम करने जा रहे हैं। और इसलिए सभापति महोदय, मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि ये बार बार कहना कि दिल्ली के साथ अन्याय हो रहा है, दिल्ली का एक विशेष स्टेटस है, उस स्टेटस को सबने माना है। अब दिल्ली भारत की राजधानी है। एक भी दुनिया के किसी देश का उदाहरण आप नहीं दे सकते कि उस देश के अंदर वहां की राजधानी है, उसका अलग प्रांत हो। यहां पर विदेशी आते हैं, यहां पर इतने बड़े सम्मेलन होते हैं, और यहां पर भारत सरकार कितने काम कर रही था। अभी भारत मंडपम इतना बड़ा माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने उद्घाटन किया है, वो केंद्र सरकार ने किया है। अब युगे युगेन भारत है, इतना बड़ा जो म्यूजियम बनने वाला है, वो म्यूजियम भारत सरकार तो बना रही। तो ये इस प्रकार के काम दिल्ली में होना, दिल्ली में वार मेमोरियल बनना, दिल्ली में सारा काम होना, दिल्ली में सभी राजदूतों की सुरक्षा करना, अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सम्मेलन होना, ये सब काम हो रहे हैं। और इसलिए मैं निवेदन करना चाहता हूं कि ये बिल की 3 बातें जो कही गई, न तो इस संविधान के विपरीत है, न ये लोकतंत्र के विपरीत है, न ये दिल्ली की जनता के विपरीत है। हाँ, ये विपरीत है कांग्रेस पार्टी के संदीप दीक्षित, जो कांग्रेस पार्टी के खास आदमी नेता है कांग्रेस के, उन्होंने दिया स्टेटमेंट कि ये बिल ठीक है। पंजाब के कांग्रेस वालों ने कहा बिल ठीक है, लेकिन ये जो टेम्परेरी मुद्दा मेरी हुई थी, केजरीवाल जी ने कहा कि हमारा अगर समर्थन करोगे तो हम इंडिया में आएंगे, और आज ये जो पास होगा ये मुद्दा मेरी टूट जाएगी और वो इंडिया INDIA जो है उससे ए अलग खत्म हो जाएगा और ये चार ही बचेंगे। क्योंकि पहला काम ये करेंगे तो उनके खिलाफ ही करेंगे। उदाहरण के लिए दिल्ली में पहले इनको मेजोरिटी नहीं मिली थी और कांग्रेस ने समर्थन देकर केजरीवाल जी को बढ़ा दिया, बन गए, पर दूसरी बार जब आए तो कांग्रेस को पूरी को हजम कर गए, तो कांग्रेस साफ हो गई। इसी प्रकार पंजाब में कांग्रेस को साफ किया। अब आगे भी उनका उद्देश्य तो कांग्रेस को साफ करना है, तो हमारी कहां लड़ाई है। तो ये जो काम है, और इस प्रकार से मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि जितना सारा काम ये माननीय अमित शाह जी ने किया है और जो प्रस्ताव पेश किया है वो सब बातों को सोचकर किया है। और एक विवाद जो इतने लंबे समय से चल रहा था, फेजल कमेटी बने, डॉक्टर पट्टाभी सीतारमैया की बने, सरकारिया कमीशन बने, फिर संशोधन आया और 91 से लेकर 15 तक किसी प्रकार का विवाद नहीं हुआ, तो बोलने वालों को तो ये सोचना चाहिए था कि विवाद पैदा क्यों हुआ है। अब दूसरी बात, अगर ये संविधान के विपरीत होता तो इनको सुप्रीम कोर्ट में स्टे मिलता, वो स्टे भी नहीं मिला। ये वहां स्टे लेने गए, स्टे नहीं मिला। अब संविधान पीठ में गए तो संविधान पीठ इसको देखेगी। पहले ही फैसला कर दिया उन्होंने कि 339A के अंतर्गत सारे कानून बनाने का अधिकार भारत की संविधान सभा को है, वो है। दूसरी बात मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि ये धमकी देना दूसरे को, और एक बात मैं साफ रूप से कहना चाहूंगा, माननीय चिदम्बरम जी ने एक बात कही कि जम्मू और कश्मीर को उन्होंने 2 हिस्सों में बांट दिया। मैं कई बार कहता हूं कि लोग अपने कृत्यों को भूल जाते हैं। आंध्र प्रदेश से, तमिलनाडु से आंध्र प्रदेश अलग हुआ कांग्रेस ने किया, फिर तेलंगाना और आंध्र अलग हुआ कांग्रेस ने किया। कितने प्रांत कांग्रेस ने किया और कांग्रेस ने तोड़े, तो क्या कांग्रेस ने राज्यों के अधिकार खत्म कर दिए थे? प्लीज, वो कांग्रेस ने तोड़े, तो ये अधिकार केंद्र के पास है। तो इस प्रकार पंजाब का विभाजन हुआ कांग्रेस के समय, हरियाणा बना, पंजाब बना, कांगड़ा मिलकर हिमाचल प्रदेश बना, ये कांग्रेस टाइम में। और संविधान की बात करते हैं और ये कहते हैं संशोधन क्यों लेकर आए। इलाहाबाद हाईकोर्ट के फैसले के बाद और जस्टिस AK कृष्णा अय्यर के सुप्रीम कोर्ट में स्टे न देने के पश्चात श्रीमती इंदिरा गांधी ने संविधान संशोधन करके अध्यादेश जारी करके अपनी मेंबरशिप कायम रखी। उतना बड़ा गलत काम हिंदुस्तान के इतिहास में आज तक नहीं हुआ। वो पार्टी पार्लियामेंट की बात करे, वो पार्टी कानून की बात करे, वो पार्टी संविधान की बात करे, तो मैं समझता हूं कि इससे बड़ा कोई धोखा नहीं हो सकता। इसलिए मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि ये कानून, ये अध्यादेश संविधान के अनुसार है, दिल्ली के जनता के हित में है और ये उसी प्रकार से समस्या का समाधान कर देगा जिस प्रकार से आर्टिकल 370 को समाप्त करके कश्मीर की समस्या का समाधान हुआ। अब किसी को भी कमेटी बनाने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी, दिल्ली की समस्या का भी परमानेंट समाधान हो जाएगा। ये इस बिल में है। सभापति महोदय, आपने मुझे समय दिया, इसके लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद माननीय घनश्याम जी। ऑनरेबल श्री वाइको जी, you have 4 minutes, sir.
Mr. Deputy Chairman, sir, I crave your indulgence for some generosity. We small parties always face the same difficulty. So I kindly be liberal with 1 or 2 minutes.
Honorable Chairman has been very generous. This debate is for 6 hours. You are getting 4 minutes. That's enough.
That's why he is asking.
Honorable, please. Honorable. Honorable Vaiko ji.
With all the force under my command, I oppose this abominable, undemocratic bill which strikes at the very root of democracy
the very root of federal spirit, at the very root of secularism, at the very root of social justice. Sir, the Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi Bill 2023 has brought forth seismic shifts in the governance landscape of Delhi. While cloaked with the garb of administrative efficacy, the bill in many ways appears to erode the democratic fabric that is intrinsic to Indian polity. The bill notably clips the wings of the Delhi Legislative Assembly by stripping it of the power to legislate on services. This is a deviation from the norm, where a state legislature would typically have jurisdiction over subjects in the state list with exceptions. The establishment of the National Capital Civil Services Authority on the surface may seem like an earnest attempt to streamline administrative processes. However, delving into composition and powers exposes an unsettling reality. The Chief Minister, an elected representative, is rendered virtually, I should not use the word impotent, so he is rendered puppet within the authority. Now I recall what I read in history when I studied the college about the triumvirate in Rome, which was called a democracy. In Rome, when Julius Caesar but kept his sword. After his assassination, another triumvirate was formed, and Antony took the reins of the power. Here, directly opposite what is going to happen in India. Among the triumvirate, these two principal secretary and cabinet secretary, they are the majority, and the chief minister only a puppet. So, this is the verdict given by the people of Delhi has been thrown into the dustbin of history. Many governors are appointed by the government, the central government. The governors in the opposite ruled states, how they behave, how... Please, I am coming to the end, sir. Sir, these governors, what they do in my state, Tamil Nadu, the governor has not given assent to the...
Please speak on Delhi.
Has not given assent to the bills sent by the State Assembly.
For all I am telling, please.
State Assembly. So the Home Minister is sitting here. So he is the custodian of these governors. So these governors, what they do,
You're very senior member. We are discussing this Delhi bill. Please.
They do follow the philosophy of Hindutva and Sanatana Dharma. This is happening in my state, sir.
Please.
In my state. So the governors are behaving the agents of the central government.
No, it will not go on record. Yes. Please follow rule number 110 and 240. Yes. No. Please speak on the bill. Speak on the bill.
Of the central government.
Speak on the bill. Your time is over. Your time is over, sir. You please finish. Conclude. Time is over.
Finish. This bill should be thrown out of history. Thrown
please.
Out of the...
Thank you.
Into the dustbin.
Thank you, Honorable Vaikoji. Thank you. Thank you. Mani Hardeep Singh Puri ji. Mani Hardeep Singh Puri.
Honorable Deputy Chairman, sir, one of the advantages of speaking so late into the discussion is that some of the most amazing statements bordering on the outlandish have already been responded to by others, and some of the facts will, I'm sure, be covered in great detail when the Honorable Home Minister replies to this discussion. But I picked up some gems, and I thought I will share them with you. It was when the Honorable Chairman was presiding that words that were used included retrogressive, unconstitutional, control freak, principles of federalism violated, arrogant government, accountability, constitutional stupidity, cheap tactics, chicanery. Now, I would like to subject some of these terms to any dictionary of legal usage or normal linguistic usage. And I think much of this actually is applicable to what is being said by those who are opposing the bill, rather than the constitutionality of what we have brought forward. But I think the gem which I really enjoyed, and I think, sir, I say this out of deference to you because you yourself are such a high legal luminary, that when lawyers start quoting from historical figures, they should be careful. When they came for the socialists, I did not oppose because I'm not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists. I did not oppose because I'm not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I'm not a Jew, so I didn't oppose. Now they come for me. Sir, I want to humbly submit, they came for you. They first attacked you. And I'm talking about a period before the BJP government assumed office in May 2014. Let me remind you, because you seem to have selective amnesia. On the night of 15th and 16th of January, one of the so-called elected, accountable ministers of the Aam Aadmi government, a gentleman by the name of Mr. Som Bharti, he attacked a colony of foreigners, and he used a mob as an instrument of politics. Some foreign nationals were subjected to cavity searches. So that's a very serious term. Cavity searches, basic human rights violation. They were subjected to, they were subjected to urine samples were tested, and they said, I know the honorable Congress member is encouraging show, but let me complete. You don't know where you will have to look then. Let me remind you. Sit down, you'll benefit from this. And Honorable Chairman, sir.
One second, sir. Oh, no, first ask your colleagues to take the seat. 1 second. One second. First ask your colleagues to take seat. Yes. Now what is your point?
The point is, because he is naming the person who is not a member of this house. How he can name that person?
Yes. Let me tell the honorable member, Mr. Gupta, that this issue was addressed by me on a point of order raised by the leader of opposition. And I had categorically held that this house has the power to discuss conduct of anyone. This house has the power to discuss anything under the planet. And as a matter of fact, this issue was signaled by former Chief Justice Mr. Gogoi also. If it is with respect to member of a Lok Sabha, then there is a set procedure that before making accusations, notice has to be given. So don't get upset. Don't get upset.
Mr. Chairman, sir.
1 second. Let me tell you, Mr. Gupta, if you get upset, you will be helping Mr. Puri. You will be helping Mr. Puri if you get upset. Please.
Sir, sir, this unfortunate incident, which we would all want to forget, but which my friends, those who are opposing this bill, perhaps want to forget even more, took place on the fateful night of 15th and 16th January 2014. Sir, I wrote about it even then. I have a publication which has these and other such incidents documented. And these were, I can give them the citation, these were much before the BJP government under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister assumed responsibility. Sir, this did not end here, because the then so-called accountable Chief Minister, who did not succeed in persuading or using the margin of persuasion with the Delhi police force, then decided 3 days later to hold the entire city to ransom by going on a strike at Rail Bhavan for 36 hours. It was, sir, on the 20th of January 2014. And All he wanted was those 3 police persons who did not support that vigilante type of action against those foreign ladies, they should be suspended. And sir, because we had a government in power in Delhi at that point of time, they followed the policy of appeasement. They indulged this kind of behavior, and 2 of the policemen were transferred because they were afraid that the 26th January celebrations would be thwarted. Sir, these are the facts, and let me not stop here. This was an action in January 2014. Now this bill speaks to the heart of governance. Heart of governance. What does governance say? Sir, what does the heart of governance say? And I'm very happy that my chance to speak came after my learned friend Shri Mahesh Jethmalani and others. But since I'm not a lawyer and I was preparing for this intervention, for which I'm deeply grateful to my party, there are 2 or 3 things which stand out. This particular insertion in 1991 and 239, what does it seek to do? It acknowledges the sui generis character of Delhi. The honorable member mentioned there was a reality. It is a union territory, yet it has a legislature, elected government. So he used the term escalated union territory. But that sui generis character needs to be acknowledged, it needs to be fleshed out, and that is precisely what the bill that the government has brought is seeking to do. Now, the civil service authority which is being established, I found it appalling that someone can get up here and say one member is the supreme. Yes, he's an elected chief minister. He deserves full respect. He deserves to have his position as primus inter pares in this 3-member committee acknowledged and respected. But to say that the other 2 are against the whole system, or they have been appointed and their integrity is in doubt, is an outlandish statement, if I may submit. Let me now read out to you how they treat their chief secretaries. Sir, I have in front of me the copy of an FIR filed a few months later. It was filed on 20th February 2018. The then chief secretary says that he received an information yesterday, that is 19th February. I was informed on telephone at 8:45 p.m. in the evening that the advisor to the Chief Minister, Shri V.K. Jain, that I had to reach the CM's residence at 12 o'clock at night. Sir, I'm not going to read out the whole FIR, but I'll read out some salient portion. He had already met the Honorable Chief Minister at that point of time, earlier in the day. He was to meet the Chief Minister again the next day because there was a cabinet meeting. And the contents of this FIR, sir, are amazing. He says he was told that if some advertisements that were the Honorable Chief Minister desired and some of their MLAs desired, if those advertisements are not released, he better come there at 12 o'clock. The Chief Secretary reached the Honorable Chief Minister's residence. He thought only the Deputy CM would be there, Shri Manish Sisodia. But to his surprise, 11 other MLAs were there. And they sat down and started questioning the Chief Secretary in an aggressive manner why those advertisements were not released. To which the Chief Secretary replies as part of the FIR, part of the subsequent legal records, that those advertisements could not be released in the light of the Supreme Court directives. Then what happened is even more amazing. The Chief Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister are present, and the Chief Secretary is physically assaulted. Now, I'm not surprised. I am not surprised.
Honorable member,
इसका जवाब आप जनता के सामने देना, आप भूलना चाहते हैं इसको, हम आपको याद करवाएंगे.
One second. Honorable Minister, Honorable Minister, a copy of this FIR be laid on the table of the House.
Here and now, here and now. Okay. Now I want to come to the subsequent stages of what happens. Sir, initially when the case came up in the preliminary legal stages, the government of the National Capital Territory of Delhi took the view that no such incident took place. Total denial. When it went up to the next stage, they said, हाँ incident तो हुआ था, पर इसमें Chief Minister और Deputy Chief Minister ने हाथापाई नहीं की, उनके MLAs ने की हैं। साहब आप मुख्यमंत्री हैं, आपके घर में आप MLAs को बुलाते हैं, उनको कहते हैं Chief Secretary की पिटाई कर दो, तो ये कोई मैकेनिज्म नहीं चलेगा। ये इनको जनता के सामने जवाब देना पड़ेगा। और ये सब लीगल। Now let me come to a few substantive things, sir. I have had the privilege, sir, I have had the privilege of being Minister for Housing and Urban Affairs. Now,
nothing will go on record. Nothing.
Sir, I have had the privilege of being the Minister for Housing and Urban Affairs.
Members, I have heard from this side also, from every side of the House. One second, Mr. Gupta, you'll have to lend some ear to me and be little patient. There have been inputs that have been absolutely beyond the bill. When I tried to request the honorable members to be in the groove, they said no. And I have had a number of them saying so. If the honorable minister is making an input, hear him patiently. When there is an occasion for someone from this side, you will have an occasion. But can we create ruckus in the House like this? So, no, I will not lend it. Eh? क्या कहा?
ये झूठी FIR देंगे कोर्ट से खत्म होगी।
Sir, let me shift now to a second segment of my submission to this August House through you, sir. I've had the privilege of being the Minister for Housing and Urban Affairs at least now nearly 6 years, sir, from 3rd September 2017. Sir, on many such occasions, I have had to appeal to the Honorable Chief Minister for the implementation of central schemes. When it came to the unauthorized colonies and their regularization, I had to write a letter to him. I'm placing that on the table of the House also, about the false narratives that they were creating. But let me come to some basic issues, sir. When it comes to schemes which have the Capital Territory of Delhi as an equal participant, let me give you, sir, something like the Delhi metro system. Sir, they are still sitting. There have been constant delays in getting approvals for metro and RRTS projects. The signing of the tripartite MOU for DMRC Phase 3 and Phase 4 for 3 priority corridors is pending despite several reminders to the GNCTD. Recently, sir, they are co-partners with us for the RRTS and they would refuse to part with the remaining 415 crores. The matter was agitated before the Honorable Supreme Court and the Supreme Court asked them, how much money have you spent on advertisement? So the reply given to the Supreme Court by the Capital Territory of Delhi government was that they have spent 1,100 crores on advertisements in the last 3 years. In 3 years. And they could not release 415 crores for the RRTS. So this again, एक ऐसा मुद्दा है जिसपे इनको दिल्ली की जनता को जवाब देना होगा. Or so let me give you one or two other some examples, sir. A reference is already made in terms of dealing with institutional mechanisms. Let me also tell you, sir, that the 400 or so specialists or consultants who were hired, well, I'm very happy that the Lieutenant Governor has finally terminated their services. What services they provided at exorbitant salaries, perhaps they might like to inform the House about that. But there was another expenditure, sir, where they incurred 60 lakh का खर्चा किया कुछ equipment खरीदने के लिए. Equipment 60 lakh की है, और उन्होंने विज्ञापन उस पर किए 23 करोड़ के। I will place those facts in front on the table of the House also. Sir.
Circumstances.
Sir, very often, we are told that the central government starves the government of Delhi and the MCDs and everybody of funds. I did a quick reckoning, sir. Since 2014, we have given to these different bodies under the urban development funds for other schemes a total of 52,052 crores, sir. 52,052 crores. And what we witness, जो हमारी केंद्रीय योजनाएं हैं, मैं इसलिए एक का उदाहरण दे रहा हूं क्योंकि मनसुख भाई मेरे साथ, my honorable colleague is sitting next to me. Some of the most successful schemes, sir. आयुष्मान भारत, जिसके तहत एक परिवार को एक वर्ष में 5 लाख रुपए की सुविधा है इलाज करवाने के लिए, दवाइयों के लिए, ऑपरेशन के लिए, पोस्ट ऑपरेशन केयर, ये इन्होंने दिल्ली में लागू ही नहीं की। इन्होंने कहा कि हमने शानदार वर्ल्ड स्टैंडर्ड के मोहल्ला क्लिनिक बनाए हैं। वो हमारे कुछ लोग हैं, उनको शुरू में पसंद आते हैं, फिर वो समझते हैं कि यहाँ पे वर्ल्ड क्लास नहीं है, ये तो काफी फटीचर टाइप है, तो फिर उनकी निंदा कर देते हैं। देखिए सर, ये आपने एक शब्द इस्तेमाल किया, कन्वीनियंट मैरिज। कन्वीनियंट मैरिज क्या होती है सर? कन्वीनियंट मैरिज मेरे हिसाब से वो होती है जो एक अपॉर्चुनिस्टिक अलायंस होती है। तो वही कांग्रेस पार्टी जिनको इसमें वो लग रहे हैं, पहला अटैक तो आम आदमी पार्टी का उन्हीं के खिलाफ हुआ था। अल्टीमेटली इसकी पैदाश कहां से हुई थी आम आदमी पार्टी की? सर, it was we also welcomed it. I must say, as a private citizen, when I found a social movement headed by a highly respectable Anna Hazare against entrenched bhrashtachar, entrenched corruption के खिलाफ. But today, you wonder who started the movement and who has become the prime mover and where is this leading to? So I make the submission to you, sir. I have no desire to take more time than is necessary because I told you I have already seen that most of the question and those absurd statements have already been responded to by others at the legal front, and I'm sure that the Honorable Home Minister, when he's responding to the debate, will provide. But in conclusion, sir, let me ask through you one question. Why do we have selective amnesia? कुछ चीजें हमें याद रहती हैं और कुछ चीजें हम कन्वीनियंटली भूल जाते हैं। अच्छा, शब्द जो इस्तेमाल करते हैं यहाँ पे, आपने कहा कि ये अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल है, ये सब जुडिस है, ये है, ये वो है। मैं आपसे एक चीज सवाल पूछना चाहता हूं। अगर आपके पास लीगल आर्ग्यूमेंट्स नहीं है, तो चिदम्बरम जी ने बिल्कुल सही कहा कि लीगल आर्ग्यूमेंट्स हैव बीन एग्जॉस्टेड बाय डॉक्टर सिंघवी, तो इसलिए वो पॉलिटिकल करे। पर पॉलिटिकल आर्ग्यूमेंट भी मेरे को समझ नहीं आ रहा। ये चाहते क्या है? डू यू वांट द नेशनल कैपिटल टेरिटरी ऑफ दिल्ली टू बी सब्जेक्टेड टू दिस काइंड ऑफ एनार्किज्म? और ये एनार्किस्ट का शब्द मैं नहीं इस्तेमाल कर रहा हूं। जब रेल भवन में उन्होंने 36 घंटे he held the city to ransom, he said, and he's on record, I'll make that cutting also available, I am an anarchist. So this political formation, sir, a startup, has not made the transition from anarchy to governance. And this bill is about governance. They should rejoice, they should welcome it, and they should participate in mature governance till they are in office. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, sir.
Message from Lok Sabha, Secretary General.
Sir, with your kind permission, I rise to report that the Lok Sabha at its sitting held on 7th August 2023 has agreed without any amendment to the Mediation Bill 2023, which was passed by Rajysabha at its sitting held on 1st August 2023.
Honorable members, as you are aware, discussion on the Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi Amendment Bill 2023, which has been allotted 6 hours for discussion, will continue beyond 8 p.m. today. In view of the extended sitting, for the convenience of honorable members, dinner will be served in Banquet Hall, Parliament Library Building from 7:30 p.m. onwards. Members may accordingly make use of the arrangements. Dr. M. Thambidurai, 4 minutes.